but I personally find it. Here we go. It's telling me you're
Find it.
recording. We're ready to record. You're recording. Great.
Yeah.
I just do that because then, yeah, it's easy. Then sometimes finding it in the cloud is like, what?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get started. So I just want to welcome everyone to this webinar. Neuromotion and Radiate Wellness are talking about nutrition and stroke and nutrition after stroke. So I'm very, very pleased to welcome Sandra Millward of Radiate Wellness. Sandra is a certified nutritionist and orthomolecular practitioner, and she is here to talk to us about nutrition after having a stroke. So thanks, Sandra, for joining us.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be here. It's so great. I'm so glad we're collaborating and bringing what you do at Neuromotion Physiotherapy and bringing nutrition and all the other aspects that you guys are inviting into your space to help people in a well-rounded atmosphere. So it's great. I think it's going to make a big difference in the world for people to have a full scope of healing, right?
Yes. So, Sandra, we've asked people who come to the clinic, we've asked them questions that they've had for you. And a couple, the first question was, what things should they avoid now that they have had a stroke?
Right. Well, first of all, this is not a guilt or a shaming or anything like that. So if I say anything, it's not about guilting or shaming into people. I feel like in the industry or in the food industry, we've been a little bit hoodwinked. But I would like to point out that, and I got this from the Heart and Stroke Foundation, that 8 out of 10 strokes are preventable with lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, those sorts of things, so that if we can embrace those pieces, it's great. Now, that's not a guilt trip, because I know lots of healthy people who've had a stroke and heart attack. So there are things it's not the end all be all, but what we would like to do is to stop recurring or another event happening. So going forward from here, that just to take note that is a piece that will help. The question again was, what are the top 4, or what are the
top things to avoid? Is there something that
oh, absolutely. I think there's not necessarily in order, but I'm going to tell you my top 4. The top 4 we should avoid is sugar, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why. Salt, I'm going to talk about that. Trans fats and alcohol. And I won't talk about it at lifestyle and exercise, and meditation management is also in there. That would be things not to avoid, but to encourage.
And then, Sandra, what are some, if sort of sugar, salt, trans fats, maybe can you give some examples of where they are in our daily life?
I sure will. Well, first of all, I'll talk about sugar. I'll break down sugar first. As I mentioned earlier, we've been a little bit hoodwinked into believing that sugar, that we don't really eat sugar. Often when I work with clients, they say, well, I don't put sugar in my coffee or my tea, and so my sugar is kind of minimal. But when we've done a breakdown of their journal, daily food journal, we've actually discovered that they've had anywhere up to 2 maybe 300 grams of sugar in a day, not recognizing it. Now, our ultimate goal is to have less than 4x4, less than 16. I say that between 16 and 24 grams of sugar per day is more than enough. Hopefully you're getting that from natural sources.
Not per meal?
Sorry, Pauline. I have some very, after I got off the phone with you the other day, I started looking up your granola bar, so I have some very sad news for you.
Okay.
But why? 16, okay, so why?
Between 16 to 20 a day?
40, yeah, so if you can imagine 4 teaspoons of sugar equals 16 grams of sugar. So whether you're talking teaspoons or whether you're talking grams, that's the translation. Yeah, scary, right? Australia.
Those are the little ones, right? The teaspoons?
Yeah, not the big tablespoons. Oh, not the Fred Flintstones. Yeah, I know, right? And the weird thing is that even if we're mindfully consuming sugar.
Is that in 1 cup of tea?
Yeah, a teaspoon. If you have a cup of tea and you put a teaspoon, that's 4 grams of sugar that you're already consuming.
Right. Oh
Now
my
we can
God.
talk about quality of sugar, which I'll get into a little bit around the sugar talk, but why we want to avoid sugar in relation to stroke and heart and just general health and well-being is that it creates inflammation. So what we want to do is our bodies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week are trying to keep itself into homeostasis, which is called balance. It's always correcting itself, and it's always trying to fix itself, and it's always trying to bring us back to a place of center and balance. And that's is what when we have things like sugar, and as you pointed out, more than 4 teaspoons a day, yeah, it sends our body out of balance. Our body's constantly trying to get back into balance and to be at optimal health. So for preventative measures, I would encourage people to look at sugar in products. So I actually, after we spoke, Pauline, when you and I were talking the other day, I brought out some examples that some ideas you threw at me, like a Mars bar. I never would have considered a Mars bar. So keep in mind what I'm saying. Let's say it's between 16 and 24 grams of sugar is kind of a safe rate where your body can work with, depending on what the other stuff you're eating. A Mars bar has between 51 and 59 grams of sugar
So
in one bar.
You're only allowed half a Mars bar a day.
But that's all your sugar. That's it. A Starbucks vanilla latte. Often, even my kids, they succumb to the Starbucks drive-through or whatever. A basic Starbucks vanilla latte has 35 grams of sugar in it. I don't know. I didn't check the light one, but I know that. Pudding cups, breakfast cereals. These are all areas where sugar hides that we don't even acknowledge that we're getting the sugar, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at some interesting things. Weight Watchers, right? It's sort of a measuring stick of weight loss and healthy heart, and their blueberry muffins, which are pretty tiny, have between 18 and 21 grams of sugar.
Oh, wow.
This is where food hides. We don't know sugars in these hidden pieces. Kellogg's, this one freaked me out. Kellogg's start strong heart cereal has 17 grams of sugar in a cup of that. I'd like to know where the strong heart part comes in.
Wow.
Places you want to look where it's hidden is generally in your packaged foods. If you're buying a birthday cake from a Safeway or a Save on Foods or a place that's not making it naturally or by scratch, generally you're getting fake fats, and you're getting generally a lot of sugar. So those would be areas where you're high. But as for your everyday, I don't know what people eat every day, but those are areas I know, like a lot of parents put pudding cups in kids lunches because they're easy and they taste good and the kids eat them, but they're not. You're giving your kid essentially a sugar bomb, and then they're going to sit in a class for a day.
Wow. And what do you think,
so
like,
areas that you
I wondered, what about like a bowl of strawberries or like that kind of natural sugar?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because I always like a solution at the end of the day. So 1 cup of raspberries, which I've already eaten these because I had them for my breakfast this morning. So this is only probably about a half a cup here, but 1 cup of raspberries has 5 grams of sugar.
Okay, that's better. Okay.
Right? Yeah. So this.
Good.
Other areas where you can get good sugars would be in things like dates. So for example, on my website, I've traveled internationally with the athletes, and this is one of the things that they love the most. And I made some to show here today. They're called energy orbs. Hang on just a minute. I'll just hold one up to the camera. They're called energy orbs. They're an awesome sugar if you're trying to break up with sugar and end that relationship and you need transition. Yeah. These energy orbs on my website, and they're made with dates. They have chocolate in them, like 100% cacao chocolate, which is high in magnesium. So you don't have to avoid sweets because you're avoiding sugar. You just have to choose better quality sweets. So the dates are providing potassium, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium. I load these up for the athletes. I throw in some protein powder, And like I said, some chocolate, and then I roll them in coconut. So this is an excellent, excellent. Now, if you don't have time, they literally take about 15, 20 minutes to make. The hardest part is the soaking of the dates before.
Oh,
You
wow.
mush it all up, and then you just blend it together and roll them out. Get some friends over and helping you rolling them out, because you can make them and keep them in the fridge for quite a few days after. I know a lot of grocery stores, and grocery stores sell them now, so you can buy them.
Right.
Grab a banana. Roll a banana. When you're really craving something sweet, throw a banana and then roll it in something like hemp hearts, because then you're getting your protein. So you're getting the fiber and the release, because that's what happens when we have sugar. We release insulin.
Yeah.
How that cycle works is that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So we're not only fighting the sweet palate that we've developed and the sweet tooth that we like, we are also exacerbating our addiction.
Wow.
The addiction cycle works is really, really interesting. Yeah. Because you have the sugar up here. Oh, this is really good, right? It's saying, oh, this feels good. This is nice.
Yeah.
Your body's reducing quick insulin to bring your blood sugar out, and then within a very short period of having that sugar, and I'm talking kind of white sugar, the difference between the raspberries I'll talk about in a minute, but just having that pure white sugar like a Mars bar, then you find you've fallen and you crash, and then you start the cycle back over again, because you need those sweets to pick yourself back up to feel this thing, and then you get into the cycle. That's one. Number two, your palate changes. So I was explaining to you the other day, Pauline, that in America, in the food industry, they've got something called the bliss point. And the bliss point is where people like the sweetness, and they're very, very smart in their marketing, because they do tests. And so they run food tests and they run it through this bliss point. And in America, they have 30% higher sweet flavor profile cravings than we do here in Canada. Right. So their cereal has got more sugar in it. Their bagels have more sugar in it. Their processed foods, donuts, cakes, pastries have more sugar in it, because that's what the addiction is. Right. So the difference between that and raspberries or a banana dipped in hemp seeds, or the energy orbs like I showed you, is that they offer fiber. So when the fiber is taken with the natural sugars, and they are natural sugars, so they're carbohydrates, high sugar, it's a slowed process, because the fiber slows the release, because it doesn't rescue that quickly. Magnesium, phosphorus, fiber for our bowels. So many people are lacking in fiber, and these are all things that would keep your heart healthy, and hopefully helping you not have a recurrence. So that would be, I also wanted to talk about my date thing. They're really good for bones, and because of all the nutrients in them. So when you're eating sugars that are rich and from nature, then you're getting also all these incredible nutrients that are helping other areas of your body, as well as your heart and your cardiovascular system.
Okay, and Sandy, can I just ask about dates? Where do you, like I have never actually bought dates. And do you just keep them in the fridge, or do you just buy one of those packets? I sort of imagine this packet of dates, or are they like raisins and you keep them in the cupboard?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've used all mine today. I would have shown you, but I get them at Costco.
Okay.
I buy them. They're organic. I buy medjool dates. Sometimes I've bought other kinds of dates. It just depends what I can get. Usually you can get them in smaller alternative grocery stores, definitely health food stores. Like I said, I get them at Costco because I buy them, and because I make them for I make 300 at a go for the athletes, but they come in these big packs. You keep them in the cupboard. You don't need to keep them in the fridge.
Okay.
Once you've added the ingredients, then you keep them in the fridge.
Okay. And with the dates, do you put them in those little balls?
Once you've made the energy orbs.
And then do you also like put them in salads, or put them in yogurt or ice cream?
You can do any of that. Anything that you're trying to get that sweet kick, you can definitely have that. I know that when I haven't been running because I have a knee injury now, but when I'm running, I use them as a snack. If we're talking about athletes, it's really imperative that you get a protein and a carbohydrate within that golden hour of finishing. So they're really good for that quick, instant energy while providing nutrition to your body. So
okay, great.
Yeah,
so
add them to anything. Cut them up. Sorry?
After the, maybe even like after the physiotherapy session, after they've had a workout or a walk, the individuals can have some, maybe even like a potpourri of walnuts and dates or something like that, a little mixture.
Totally, totally. A small handful of almonds. If you don't have any issues with chewing, if you have issues with chewing, you can grind them up, or like I said, roll them in hemp hearts. They're awesome and they're high in protein. Roll them in hemp heart, like even those little energy orbs. Sometimes I roll them in hemp hearts. They just don't keep as long because the natural oils and the essential fatty acids in hemp hearts. Definitely excellent snacks on the way to see you at the physiotherapy clinic or or leaving.
Okay.
And when you're trying to break up with sugar, an excellent way. Yeah. What's the next thing we were talking about? Things to avoid. We talked about sugar. Now I'm going to talk about saturated fats and trans fats. And fats is an incredibly wide and diverse conversation. So I'm going to just try and keep it very basic and very, very simple. If we don't know, I'll take you down the basics. We have HDL, which is your high density lipoprotein, and your lower density lipoprotein, which is LDL. Our LDL is our more damaging, harder effects, creates problems in the body. So what we want to do is increase our HDL, our good fat, and lower our LDL. I know that with heart health, it's always a little bit of a gray area around fats and consuming fats. My encouragement to you is consume good fats, the HDL fats. What's in HDL? What's HDL fats? That would be things like, I brought it out for you guys today, things like flax oil. Yeah, so putting things like flax oil on your toast or cereal instead of olive oil, throwing it onto your toast. This is an excellent resource, and it's a vegan, if you're a vegan vegetarian, way to get your HDLs in there. And supplementing with things like omega-3, high DHA, EPA. This particular brand is the one I've got in my fridge. I'm not necessarily promoting it, but it's a great brand because it tastes good. So increasing your HDL.
Is that omega-3 thing in oil?
The flax oil? They're both oil.
Oh, they're both oil. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about this. This is a fish oil.
A fish oil. Okay.
Yeah. So these would be things that you can take supplementary. The oil, you can use a salad dressing. You could put it on your toast instead of butter. You can simply just take a tablespoon of it every day, because the idea of increasing your HDLs, your good cholesterol, is that they offset your LDLs. So they kind of get rid of them. They're trying to get rid of them. That's what their effectiveness is.
And what things are high in LDLs?
Okay, so yeah, the LDL is what you're trying to avoid. That is in your trans fats. That's in your potato chips, your French fries, your McDonald's drive-through, your Kentucky Fried Chicken. We were talking about. I had a gentleman recently who said, I asked him, "Do you eat a lot of fried foods?" He said, "No, not really." When it was clear to me, he had a ton of visceral fat around his arterial arteries, around his main arteries here, and I could tell that is definitely an issue for him. Probably high carbohydrates combined with trans fats, and so you want to avoid any fried food, deep fried foods. Generally, I'm sorry to say, Chinese food restaurants. I have a few Asian clients, and we've been trying to find places that steam or do things with less oils. And
Sandy, what do you think of those air dryer things or air fryers?
The air fryers? I just tried it the other day at our friend's place. I quite like them. I'd like to do a little bit more investigative. I have 3 clients who use them and love them because they can do kind of French fries without all the oil, or then they choose to use the flax oil as well. I wouldn't cook with the flax oil because you're ruining the oil. This is the other thing we have to know about the healthy oils, that when you cook with them, you make them a carcinogenic. So you don't want to heat. There's only 3 that you want to maybe cook with, and that would be avocado oil, coconut oil, and if you're a vegetarian, vegan, and you don't, you could use ghee. Ghee has no dairy, so it's good for people with MS, an alternative. Yeah. So I think those air fryers are kind of cool because you you know, you get the hit for the, like we've made kale chips in them and they were great. We added Angevita yeast onto them. They were awesome. I think that it's a health option. I just think it's this whole thing around the mindset of having the fried foods. So for example, putting a sweet potato into that and having that is an excellent way without having all the fats associated with what you get it when you go to a burger joint or a pub.
Right.
I know I dipped it in the big greasy fat fryer where they've kept it, where they change it over and it's pretty rancid and it's carcinogenic. Doing it at home is definitely a better alternative.
And Sandy, what would you say is high in HDL?
It would be the ones I told you, the oils, but in terms of foods, the things you want to increase with heart and stroke, you definitely want to lower your red meat intake. I'm sorry to say if you're a big red meat eater, but what you want to do is I'd increase my salmon, my herring, mackerel, even tuna. Be careful with tuna because it's high in mercury. Any really fat fishes, eat fatty fish. It's really good at the HDL and the DHA. So also good for children with ADHD or brain, stuff. That's really good. So you want to increase the DHA, and you get all that in those small deep sea fish. I personally love salmon because we live from the West Coast, and it's also got great results. So that's how you would get it in the food.
Okay, great. So that's so reduce the sugar. Reduce the trans fat, or make good choices.
Oh, have no trans fats. Get rid of them. Again, it's another thing. So I just want to offer some alternatives, because I know that when you're coming off of fat, similar to coming off of sugar, when you're breaking up with the bad fats, you want to replace them with good fats. So cut an avocado in half or into a quarter, add a little organic, natural Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt, snack on that. So you're getting that fat satiety. Your brain is happy because it's getting the fat that it needs.
Yeah.
It makes you feel less hungry, and it's helping you with tons of nutrition. And avocado is my go-to food. So, don't avoid fats. Just be aware of which ones are doing you harm and which ones are benefiting your body, and eat more of the ones that are benefiting your body.
Great.
Now, salt. This is the thing. This is avoidance number 3, is sodium. Why do we want to avoid sodium when we have heart or cardiovascular issues? Because it helps retain fluid, and it's hard on the cardiovascular system, and namely the heart. We will also want to hydrate. Hydrating is incredibly important for the heart. It delivers oxygen and it helps with nutrients, and like all muscles, when they're dehydrated, they're harder to work. So we want to always make sure we're hydrating. I wanted to mention that in here too. Something we don't talk about. And I read the stats on, sorry, do you have a question?
Yeah, maybe you're going to answer it just about salt and what's I kind of add salt to my meals. Is that okay? I add salt to my potatoes when I cook them. Is that okay?
Yeah. So when same thing when I tour with the athletes, salt's an amazing electrolyte. Our body needs it. And so they're really good. Now, our of salt are really important. So white table iodized salt, important at the time, because when we created it with iodine in it, it prevented goiter. A goiter is when we have an inflammation of our thyroid here, and it was a problem that seems to be kind of unavoidable. We're not worried so much about that. And if you are, increase eating kelp and seaweed, anything like that, because they're rich in iodine. If you have a tendency towards some thyroid issues, but for us now in our culture and how we have such access to sushi, and I think that it's become less of a problem. I don't really know the stats on that or why goiters just virtually disappeared, but the natural salts you want to shoot for are ones that come from the earth. So that would be your Himalayan rock salts, your natural sea salts, like a Celtic sea salt. You want to use all these salts that come naturally from the earth because they're loaded with 18 minerals in them. So that's you're getting, again, the health benefits of those. So putting a little bit of salt is fine. The downside of sodium, or what's going on with sodium, is that we are consuming more than double our sodium. I looked up, I have to tell you my stat here. The current Canadian is consuming 3,400 milligrams of sodium every single day and not even recognizing that they're eating that much sodium. That's more than double of what we need. So I thought, well, that's really interesting. Yeah, I know it's scary. And this is like one of the major things around heart and stroke is sodium. And so we did a little recce I went to a store called No Frills yesterday, and I was looking at I usually shop at the grocery store, so I'll do the vegetables, a little bit of the dairy, and usually that's where you find fish and things like that. And then the what's the like the natural baked goods or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always shop. I get all the fresh stuff. Pretty much everything in the center we don't really need, and that's sort of my rule of thumb. Not always, because I've been buying some things, but I looked in their store yesterday, and I just picked up a couple of items. I thought, if I was just a Joe average guy, what am I going to buy? And this is actually, sadly, my daughter had this in the cupboard. This was hers. So again, keep in mind, we require less than, what's half of 34? 12. Let's
17.
just say, let's say 13. Is that what it is?
17.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,700 milligrams of sodium. So Pauline putting a little fresh salt on her potatoes, and I put it on my salad. I put it on my avocados. I put it on places like that too. It makes my salad really, really yummy. So if it's 1,700 milligrams and you're really, really hungry and you're a guy and you're working on a construction site, or you've been working, I don't know, you're in a rush, you're a mom, you make your kid this. So you have this little kind of soup. I don't know about you, Pauline, but I could eat this whole thing myself. I have a huge appetite, so I have no problem. This looks really good for a dieter. It has only 150 calories in it. It's really great. The sodium in this one tin of soup, this is not just my only sodium today, is 750 milligrams.
Wow.
Again, I looked at chili because as a person going, oh, chili, this would be really good. This one's they're promoting it. They're saying no beans, more beef. I'm sorry, but as a heart person, you want to increase your beans and lower your beef. So this particular one, and this is even smaller than the last one. Sorry, Stag, to call you out, but their sodium is 1,080 milligrams in that.
Wow.
So there's your thing. So that's your one meal a day. Then you go to Starbucks and you have your latte and you're getting, I don't know, 20 grams of sodium there, and your 36 hits of sugar. And then you have, I looked at it's called Healthy. It was a frozen food lunch. It was Healthy Wise or something like that. It has something like 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it as well.
Okay, wow.
You think of that, like right there, you've already had your daily sodium. And then you're asking me, can I put it on my potatoes and on my nice healthy foods? Again, I'm just saying, bring it to your attention, read labels, see what you're eating, because you don't even, we don't know. And again, this is how restaurants, being mindful in restaurants that we eat in, because they often use sodium and sugar to raise that point profile, and fried foods to raise that profile to taste good, to get you back to come into the restaurant. Right. So cooking at home is usually your best bet, or finding some really good alternative restaurants to eat in.
Okay, and then what's the fourth no-go?
Well, alcohol. Alcohol is a tricky one. Well, number one, pretty much sugar. And we're talking wine or spirits. There are some cleaner alcohols like tequila, vodka, even some gins. I did a whole blog on the healthiest alcohols you can have. But alcohol is something you probably want to avoid if you've had a stroke. And I definitely would talk to my doctor. I struggle with that because, as you know, I love to have a glass of wine too. So it's a hard thing, but it can contribute to stroke factors because it can increase your blood pressure. So that's why alcohol can be bad. And to be honest, it's not really offering you a lot of nutrition. Right. So if your body's trying to heal and recover from a stroke, and you're trying to prevent a future stroke, I would stick pretty hard and fast to some basic rules, and that is eat whole, eat healthy, eat as much live food as you can, greens, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, roasted vegetables, even like you said, the air fryer vegetables, and if you get to a certain level with your doctor and they say, look, it's your anniversary, you need to have a little glass of champagne, and they approve it, then I would go for it. But that is something, if you've not had a stroke and you're finding you're having a little bit of a difficult relationship with alcohol, you might want to look at about cutting that out. Usually the thing we crave the most is the thing that we need the least.
Right. And Sandy, you talked about, so those are sort of the 4 things to try and avoid, reduce, change some of the habits. But what about some really great ideas of the go-tos? When you talked about
Go-to?
Yeah, the colors.
Oh yeah. So well, my general rule of thumb in general health, and this is hopefully going to prevent from even getting a stroke in the first place, is eat 7 different colors of fruits and vegetables every single day. It's called the rainbow. The stress factor is actually decreases. The stress factor on the body decreases. It's actually a study I found by 10% by only having 470 grams of fruits and vegetables every day. To be honest, that's a banana, an apple, a big thing of lettuce. Well, I can show you. So I brought some veggies here. There, I think we froze. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
So I brought some veggies here. So a day could look like, right? So these are awesome snacks also going home. Cut up some vegetables, have this with some hummus, or maybe make some tzatziki if you like that little more creamier palette. Cut up some peppers. Roast in the deep fryer, or not the deep fryer, the air fryer, right? Roast some cauliflower, which is what I'm going to try to, a big handful of greens,
right?
Oranges, apples, mushrooms. Mushrooms are loaded in vitamin D. These are all things that, if you can't figure out the color palette, like think of purple cabbage, a red pepper, an avocado, a lemon squeezed in your water. That's yellow. What color am I missing? Green grapes,
red, or
a red tomato. Yeah. So just try and mix up your vegetables and like literally start a little thing on the fridge. Count how many sugar calories you've had if you're eating packaged foods. Count your sodium if you're eating packaged foods, and tick off how many colors of fruits and vegetables in combination you've eaten today. Like just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I've had all 7. That's great. Now my Mars bar. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, just prioritizing those foods. Some grab and goes I like post workouts, and I use this with the athletes a lot. I do a lot of dried fruit. These are mangoes. This is 20 grams of sugar in this. 100, is it 20? No, it's not that. It's not quite that high. Mangoes, usually tropical fruits are the highest in sugars, and when you dehydrate fruit, they become higher in sugar. But they are offering you more nutrition. And if you're exercising and working out, or if you've been at the physiotherapy clinic that day, you might want to pack a little bag of dried fruit, some dried nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
Like what else?
And
I leave bowls of.
Yeah, Sandy, what kind of nuts do you recommend the most? Is there one nut that's like pistachios are a little bit high in salt? Maybe I like those pistachios from Costco because they're full of salt.
Yeah. I try to buy unsalted. I've been going to this little place that naturally seasons with natural seasonings and less salt. But if you're going to be buying things, you want to buy all your nuts and seeds, put them in the fridge. You want to have things like walnuts. If you think of foods, this is a little trip for you. If you think of foods and what they look like, so when you take 2 halves of a walnut and you put them together, they look like a brain. So what are they good for? They're good for the brain. So nuts are really, really great. Walnuts are really, really great. Yes, pistachios. Again, check, like if you're buying the ones in the case with the salt, how much sodium are you getting? Yeah. Maybe get unsalted, get your palate used to not having those. Cashews are really good because they're really high in fat. You don't want to eat a lot of them because you might gain weight, but you're going to get all the great nutrient value from the cashews. I often mix in seeds. Pumpkin seeds are super high in zinc. Prostate issues, that's a great thing to have in your little blend in your mixed bag coming to the clinic or leaving the clinic. So I'd have sesame seeds, I'd have pumpkin seeds, I might have almonds. A small handful of almonds is a protein source.
Yeah.
Walnuts for the brain, and I honestly I do mix it around, so I always have them. But generally, I have dried fruit and mixed bag of nuts and seeds lying around, and I snack on those quite frequently. Often, when I crave a potato chip, if I just go and have a couple of walnuts, it gives me the crunch that I like.
Yeah.
It gives me the fat that I need, and it's giving me more nutrition. I'm not saying I don't always succumb to the chips. Sometimes I do. Look at ones that are kettle cooked and things like that. There are cheater things. The idea is to get you away from that mindset of the fast food and the processed foods and more into making it at home. And then looking, when you do get processed foods, reading the labels.
Yeah. And Sandy, sometimes I get vegetables or salads and I leave them in the bottom of the fridge and then they go rotten.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for not doing that?
If you're starting to notice some of your vegetables and fruits are going rotten, throw them into a smoothie. Honestly, you can't even normally taste them. I have hoodwinked many athletes on tour with avocados in the bottom of a smoothie, big vats of spinach. They don't even taste it or know it, and they're getting all the nutrients. But in terms of preserving them, keeping them in little bags and things, that they have these bags that keep things longer.
Yeah, I think I just don't peel them right away or cut them up. And like if I had them kind of more readily available, maybe I would eat them sooner, or maybe even getting just in the habit of going home and putting out a plate of carrots or celery sticks.
Absolutely.
And having that just to do this sort of thing with.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say that whatever you have in your fridge is what you eat. So, but like you said, Pauline, you have to prepare it. So I know that I did experiments at birthday parties with my kids. There was always the big platter of the sweets and the cupcakes and the stuff, but I can guarantee you a huge platter of watermelon and strawberries and big vat of grapes and some, a little bit of nuts and seeds on the side. That always went much faster than the cupcakes did. I'm not saying I just noticed it. I thought, gosh, kids naturally, that's what they'll go for. It's bright in color, it's attractive, it's juicy, it looks good. And it's the same with us. So yeah, absolutely. You and your partner sit down at night, prep up platters of carrots and celery, and cut up some little, get some of those little baby tomatoes, make it look really nice. When I do vegetable preps, I keep them in water. So I'll seal them. If I peeled carrots for 3 days, let's say 3 days of snacks I take to work or school, I keep them in water vats and I cover them. It keeps them more fresh. Yeah.
And Sandy, we had one question from a client who is concerned about the water intake because it makes them go to the bathroom all the time. It's difficult to get to the bathroom. What are ways to combat that?
Yeah.
What are other ways other than just water to get fluids in the day?
To get water? Oh, okay. So you can consume 30% of your hydration through foods. Again, that's eating all natural. Fruits and vegetables are loaded with water. If you're struggling eating fruits and vegetables, throw them into a smoothie. Smoothies are, you can make them be whatever you want. They're rich in vitamins and nutrients. They never escape that blender or Vitamix, and it's all in there. So, and it's it's a way of getting all that nutrition, having a meal, but it's hydrating as well.
Right.
The other thing I always suggest to people is soups. I have some cheaters that I do. I use a company called Blended for You when I'm too busy, and they're frozen, and then I just I heat them up and or blend them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just with the smoothies, sometimes it's not easy to get to the blender, get the stuff in the blender, clean the blender. What is there one that they sell that at the grocery store, some of those smoothie kind of drinks? Is there one that you recommend?
I can go grab mine out of the freezer that I use personally. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll go grab that. But again, being super careful. There's a lot of companies that make smoothies, but look at how much sugar's in them.
Oh yeah.
And it's I've given so many lectures on sugar and reading, and then people have come back and got, for example, vitamin water. Vitamin water is sold as a healthy water. It's got 32 grams of sugar in one vitamin water, and it also has food dye, which is incredibly inflammatory in the body. And often people are allergic to it. They don't even know. Give me 2 seconds and I'm going to go grab my things to show you.
Okay, thanks, Sandra. And the other question I have for you, Sandra, is about Gatorade and Pepsi. So when you come back, you can.
Yeah. I can hear you still, even though I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Gatorade is my nemesis. As you know, I work with Olympic athletes, and I have a lot of them trained now to use coconut water. We use salt. I actually have a recipe on my website. If you go to similar to vitamin water, super high in sugar, loaded with food coloring and things to make it attractive, high inflammatory. And then the sodium, I don't know, they're changing the recipe since I last looked, but it's not it is.
Okay.
Please don't drink it. Please don't drink it. Don't drink it. Okay, so this company is super cool. I love her. It's frozen. So you can do 3 things.
What's it called? It's blended for you.
Blended for you. And you can, there's 3 things you can do with it. You can literally, you're in a rush, you got the kids in the back seat, you tear it off, you can eat it right out of the pack. So for example, in this particular one, it's got bananas, blueberries, spinach, spirulina, which is a natural protein, chia, high in omega-3s, what we were talking about earlier, and turmeric, anti-inflammatory. They call this the Green Mo, she made it for the Green Mustache Cafe. She created this product because her father was sick with cancer, and when she went to the hospital, she was absolutely mortified by the food that they were serving her dad in the hospital. So she started freezing smoothies for him, and that's how this company started. Yeah, it's really cool. So you can blend it with your favorite liquid. So I take it, throw it in the blender. I
vodka
with mine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I've got another idea for vodka. That's another webinar, I can tell you. I didn't know I add probiotics into it. It's really good. But this particular one, so you add it in the blender. You can just eat it like this. And what's her third thing? Like ice cream. So literally with a spoon, you eat it out. And then the third one is just throw it in your mixer cup like you would, like a, when you make a protein smoothie or something. Yeah. This is my grab and go. This is my health food. I've used this when I've been in the clinic with you guys when I'm in a rush and I haven't had a chance. She's got something like 25 flavors. So you're gonna find everything. And she also has soups, and I love. Ironically, I grabbed the 2 green things, the soup. So this one again is really, really good. This has got 10 grams of protein. Oh gosh, hang on, I need my glasses. No, it's got more than that. This particular one has grams of sugar, but it's natural sugar. It's higher in sugar. It's also high in fiber. It's better. Right? If you have something that's really high in sugar, but very low in fiber, it's going to be creating a cascade of issues. This has got 480 milligrams of sodium in this too. So just to be aware, but it's loaded with nutrients. Can you hear me? I feel like we've frozen.
I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I was going to read the, protein 10. Oh, this one's got 10 grams of protein. This is probably the last one. The soups have higher in sodium than the smoothies are, but the that's probably because of the preservative in it. But the I like them. I love them. It's like the soup I make at home, so it tastes good. And then you love this one. It's called the After Party.
Oh, nice.
That's a smoothie. And it's got pineapples, bananas, spinach, ginger, cayenne, coconut oil, and dandelion root, vegan protein, and B12 and turmeric. So like she's got very good things in it, and it's all there because it's exactly what you said, Pauline. Like I don't always have raspberries in my fridge, or I couldn't get them, or I don't, I might have raspberries, but I don't have a banana, or I know I'm out of spinach or whatever. So I keep these as a standby and grab and go.
And Sandy, that just reminded me of one other question I have is, like, we can buy frozen blueberries. Or fresh blueberries. Do you have a recommendation, like either one, or?
Yeah, obviously I'm always gonna go for the fresh if I can. And I often tout, eat the 100-mile diet. So if it's not really available to me, I don't. Saying that, I know the massive benefits of berries, and the antioxidant behavior in berries. And if you're buying them organic and they're frozen, it's fine.
Right.
I would approve it. But if you had the choice,
Yeah.
fresh.
Okay, Sandy, thanks so much. That was
Let's hope
fantastic.
someone gets some nice value.
Yeah, no, that was just fantastic. It was really informative and a great overview of how our nutrition should change if we've had a stroke, and how our bodies can benefit and really help healing by changing our nutrition habits. So thank you so much, Sandra. And we'll put
My pleasure. And I just want to,
yeah,
I want to say, like, and I get that it can be hard, right? Like if you don't even know what you do, and you're questioning you've had a stroke, and you don't know what you did, or there's some thoughts around like, I don't know how I got here. And if you're, if you think you need help with nutrition, do see a nutritionist, or see a dietitian, or see someone that's going to help you learn how to make those small changes. Like that would be my, one piece of the puzzle. And thank you. Let's do another one soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra. And yeah, I think one of the things I'd love to do is actually do a session where we're learning how to make those bliss balls. I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah, I've done it many times in my kitchen for corporate affairs. I'd love to do it. It's really easy. It's fun. We can do it. I'll teach you. It'll be fun.
We'll do it at the clinic.
A practical one.
And we'll have clients participate.
Oh, do it. That would be fun. And it's so cool because you can learn how to do it. Yeah, we'll mix it around. We'll make it very individual. All right, sweetie. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Bye, Pauline.
Bye-bye.